As awful and shocking as the Epstein files are, and they most certainly are, they also basically just seem to reinforce a lot of what we already suspected, right? First of all, that way too many elites are ruled by ego. They lack integrity. They fall prey to wicked hedonism. Moral failures that good people, especially vulnerable children, have paid a dear price for. And second, that they operate within this interconnected web of legal, social, and financial systems that beg the question of how much manipulation and control do they have over the rest of us? And it all stems from one core problem. Too few people with too much influence, power, and money. And a culture that allows it, a culture that celebrates it, a culture that's oriented around the pursuit of those things. And we live in a world that has placed those pursuits above people for far too long. So much so that their unhealthy list of priorities is used to justify depravities that are so typical we don't even notice anymore, like poisoning our food, like destroying our environment and nature, and like putting human dignity aside in the pursuit of profit. And so then in its extreme form, it leads to the kind of soulless and ruthless behavior we're reading and hearing about now. In the short term, anybody who harmed children needs to be held accountable right now. Right now. In the long term, we need to think about how we design systems so that we can put the material in its proper place and put humanity back where it belongs on top. One that's truly more community-oriented, happiness-focused, that puts relationships and nature and the important things like love at the center of our world. Because as long as we structure humanity to live in hierarchy, and as long as we reward violent capitalism, we're going to have the same result. An oligarchical structure with a few hedonists who are run by ego ruling the world, and a global apparatus that supports all of that, and a culture that reinforces it because, why? They're in control of those systems. So our task is to design around those vulnerabilities and put a much more distributed and decentralized system in action. Because MK Ultra doesn't work on DAOs and smart contracts or any other system that doesn't rely on just a few people as a human bottleneck at the top. Honey traps, they don't matter when we're run by truly free markets that are free of monopolistic control, right? Where a few people don't control everything that happens to the masses. So I challenge us to implement new systems that will empower people and protect what's sacred.